welcome to the Blood, Sweat, and Cinema podcast. Today, our guest is Mr. Ron Van Clief, world-renowned martial artist in many, many different styles. Fought in UFC number 4 against Royce Gracie, lifelong martial artist, jiu-jitsu practitioner under Joe Moreira.
Well, I started with Joe Moreira, but I've been with Helson Gracie for the past 15 years.
Currently with Helson Gracie and currently preparing for a jiu-jitsu tournament. Sir, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming on.
So let's go back to the start, sir. You grew up in New York.
Yes, in Brooklyn, New York.
So what was Brooklyn like in those days? What was your introduction to martial arts? Did you find that martial arts was something you wanted to learn because Brooklyn did you experience difficulties on the street and you said, I need to defend myself, or was it just by default of being a sportive person?
I think it was by default. I was a gymnast most of my early life. Parallel bars, horizontal bars, that kind of thing. Free form exercise, I was on a swimming team also. So I was like a fitness guy when I was young.
What was your first introduction to martial arts?
I met Moses Powell at the St. John's Community Center when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And that's really my start. He and Ronald Duncan were teaching at the St. John's Community Center in Brooklyn. And also George Cofield was there. So I had a pretty rounded start.
Now, what did you start? Because Moses Powell was a big man. I believe he was jiu-jitsu. Was that correct? But what was
it? He studied jiu-jitsu with Professor Visitacion, a Filipino teacher. And he didn't just study jiu-jitsu. He studied the arnis, which is a stick and knife and blade art.
And is that how you got introduced to modern arnis and work?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And so how long did you stay with Sensei Powell? Did you go all?
I was with him from when I was 15 to 17 when I joined the Marine Corps. When I was 17, I ran away from home and joined the Marine Corps.
And did you do any training in combat arts while in the Marine Corps?
Yes. I was stationed in Okinawa, where I started studying Ishinryu, Shorin-ryu, and Okinawa Te.
Interesting. Wow, Okinawa Te. Okay. Yeah. Now, how long did you spend in the Marines, and then you come back, and do you come back to New York and get back involved in the martial arts in New York?
I was in the Marine Corps 6 years. My last duty station was Vietnam. I was in the artillery at that point, 0811, what they call a cannoneer. I manned an M60 machine gun on a 105 howitzer crew.
Wow. Oh. So now you're back in New York, and one of your instructors, a very renowned, profound, the late Peter Urban. Now, what a lot of people don't know is Peter Urban had hundreds of students.
Thousands
at one point, thousands of them. He was very, very well known, but as well known as he is and was, I'm still kind of surprised by how many people are not that familiar with him, or if they are, they're not familiar enough with him. So he was a unique individual. In fact, I have his books here, Karate
Dojo.
I have some of his books here, and just to say the least, they're a very karate psychology.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I have karate values.
Mm-hmm.
And I have karate stories.
Oh.
And to say the least.
Well, that one I don't have. Wow.
Well, I'll make you a copy and get it to you.
Okay.
Interesting. He was a very interesting individual. He had a very unique way of looking at things. And
fascinating man. Fascinating.
I first became aware of him through Don Warrener.
Oh, Don, yeah.
Yeah. So take us a little bit through your experience with Sensei Urban on the mats and off the mats.
Well, Sensei Urban was more of a father to me than my father was,
Sir, can you sit up a little higher, because we can't see you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're seeing like from the nose
Let's see if I can go down. No. Yeah.
Maybe can you tilt your camera down a little?
There it is.
How's that?
Perfect.
That's
Yeah,
That's
okay.
perfect.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I started with Sensei Urban when I was in the police academy. I was a policeman in New York from 1965 to 1969. I
Wow.
taught combatives at the police academy.
Now, were there any times ever where you had to use your martial arts when you were out on police work, on
Oh, of
duty?
course, of
Yeah.
course.
What are some tactics that actually, you utilized?
I actually had to take a straight razor from a guy who
Wow.
I was writing a ticket to. He actually tried to cut me, and he cut my uniform jacket. Luckily, it was
Wow.
wintertime, so it was like a thick, that thick, almost like a horse blanket thing.
Yeah.
But I wound up having to shoot him.
Oh man.
He was running away, and I shot him in the leg. And I mean,
Yeah.
I only used my weapon twice in 6 years.
Yeah.
Both people I shot, but I
Yeah.
didn't kill people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's
So
good.
going back to Peter Urban. So talk to us a little bit about your experience with Peter Urban.
Since Urban and I were more than just student and teacher. When I was divorced from my second wife, I lived in the dojo with Sensei Urban in Chinatown for 3 years.
Wow.
That
And
was
really,
that had to be a unique experience.
oh my goodness. I did not realize that Sensei Urban was a pure genius. He was a genius. His way of looking at martial arts and his whole psychophysical concept of martial arts was something I had never even thought about. You know, he was a great believer in affirmations. He was a great believer in self uh, self help. You read more. You influence. You are with different people. You learn. You keep learning like forever. You know.
Yeah.
And that's what I really got from Sensei Irving. He was an amazing, amazing individual. His first book, Karate Dojo, was like the gold standard of that time.
Now
Yeah.
he actually went to Japan and got promoted to Shodan by Gogen Yamaguchi, correct?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was in the Navy at that time. He was a code breaker.
A code breaker.
Yes.
Interesting. Now you also studied Wing Chun with Long Ting. Did you study directly with Long Ting, or was one of Long Ting's disciples? And how did?
Oh no, I studied with Long Ting. I lived in his dojo when I first moved to Hong Kong. I lived in his dojo and I used to feed his eagle. Yeah.
So what time period? Why were you in Hong Kong, and why were you living there, and how long were you there for, and how did you end up meeting Long Ting?
Before I even got to Hong Kong, I was introduced to Wing Chun by Duncan Leung and Jason Lau. They were the people that got me to Leon Ting when I got to Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong to make some movies. I wound up staying. I spent about 9 years in Hong Kong, and then about a year in Taiwan. But it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Martial arts was pure then, James. It was pure. There was full contact way before MMA. I was involved in lots of matches in Hong Kong, not in dojos, you know?
When you say martial arts was pure then, what do you mean by that?
Now, a lot of the techniques that are taught aren't taught anymore. Like in jiu-jitsu, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, most places teach a sport version of this style. Helson Gracie still teaches the self-defense aspect. Like when you go for black belt, there are 106 combative self-defense situations that you have to learn. I'm at like 95 right now.
So just for the audience, what is the difference between self-defense jujitsu or jujitsu you would use on the street, or how you would use it, opposed to what you would use in the octagon or on the mats or at a tournament or wherever?
My personal opinion is that the guard is useless in real combat. You know, I mean, you get punched in the groin, you get stuck in the eye with fingers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening there. What most places teach as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a sport form. It, most schools start sitting down. So, I mean, I like starting standing myself. I think it's more realistic.
Well, it's most likely going to be standing up, not sitting.
Yeah, most fights start standing up. I agree that lots of fights end up on the ground, but normally those are people that aren't good at striking, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were knocked to the ground, if you were doing a self-defense jiu-jitsu class with Helson Gracie, and you're knocked to the ground, does he teach a substitute for the guard to what you would use in a tournament, or he just does it differently?
Not only that, he does it differently, but he incorporates strikes and kicks into his system. They're very much a part of Helson's protocol. Very much a part. You know, like the stomp on the head after you take them down. I mean, he's from the real school. You know, lots of places you see teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And everybody's boot scooting. You know, I find that not interesting, nor effective. I think if you're in a real street fight and you put someone in your guard, you're in trouble. They're going to
I think another thing
on the ground and pound and everything. Yeah.
And another thing to think about is most of the time when there's a street fight, there are friends involved. There are other people around.
Weapons.
If you were to put somebody in your guard, if you were to take somebody down and say he's got his buddies standing around, those buddies, while you're on your back,
they're going to stab you. They're going to shoot you.
Yeah, they could do a lot of damage to you. I know.
But I do believe that there's no one art that covers the full range of combat. The stand-up, the ground stuff, all that stuff has to be one art, I believe. If you're missing the groundwork, I think you're missing a great deal, you know? And it's not because I think most fights end up on the ground. If you do end up on the ground, BJJ is your best antidote for getting back up, not hurt. Yeah. That's what I think.
How is the jiu-jitsu that you learned from Moses Powell different from the jiu-jitsu you learned from Joe Moreira and Helson Gracie?
There is a big difference in what the technology. Moses Powell would teach eye grabs, eye gouges, throat, groin strikes. You don't see much of that in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They will either go for Kimura, arm lock, omoplata, you know, all the attacking motions. And I'm not saying they're bad. Technique does work if you use technique, no matter how good you are. If your technique is sound, you'll survive. But I enjoy the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I'm not taking it as a one-all, everything included. No art is like that. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because when I fought Royce Gracie, I realized I was not equipped mentally nor physically for that type of fight. That was great. It allowed me to open up my mind and say, yes, your groundwork sucks. You have to learn something about that. You have to learn the ABCs. I put a white belt on in 2010, and I started from the beginning. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I started competing when I was 74. Yeah, I've competed.
That's amazing.
Maybe about 20 times, right? I competed at the Worlds last year, and I plan to compete for the next few years in my foreseeable future. In April, I'm testing with Helson for black belt. This is my 16th year there.
Now, what does a test with Helson consist of?
Helson is a real stickler for the self-defense, the combatives. We have 106 different combatives. They're like ippons, you know, one steps. I think they're very important. to have that as an alphabet. Because most styles, they just teach you technique, 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 technique. It's all technique. But if you come into martial arts for a reason, whether it's self-defense, whether it's just to work out, or like myself, learning something new, you know, I enjoy it. I wind up sparring maybe 25, 30 rounds a week, 6-minute rounds. And every once in a while, he sticks in these 8-minute rounds. Like I rolled last Tuesday with a 270-pound, 35-year-old kid. 270, you know, at 6 foot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of beef, man. You know, he had me in side control.
Yeah.
I felt like a truck was on my chest.
Yeah.
No matter how much framing, no matter that's a hard road to get.
That's a lot of weight to distribute in one area for
But
sure.
I'm enjoying it so much. I finally got up to 7 rounds in one day, which was great. You know, normally I crash out at about 5. I get 5 rounds, and by the time the 5th round's done, it's not that I'm tired or that I run out of gas. I'm hurt by that time. It's either my neck, my knee, my ankle. A guy palmed me in my eyeball the other night. I mean, just a simple thing like that. But I wound up getting a black eye. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for $1 zillion.
Now, backing up a little bit.
It's my happy day.
Shotokan Karate.
With George Cofield. Yeah, those were very interesting days. George Cofield and Thomas LaPuppet. Tom LaPuppet and I were in the Marine Corps together. We were in Okinawa together, actually. Yeah. And he's the first black man to be in the Black Belt Hall of Fame. A great fighter. Great Marine. He retired as a sergeant major. You know, over 20 years in the Marine Corps. You know? Great man. That's all I can say. Great man and very good friend. He was my best man when I got married my first time.
What did those sessions consist?
That's awesome.
Cofield was a kata freak. He would make you do katas over and over and over and over and over. I mean, you could be there 3 hours and you'd work on just one kata. He was one of those that by the time you did perform in a tournament, you knew it backwards, forwards, you know. He was something.
That's how it's supposed to be.
There's no other way to learn. It's all repetition, especially the sparring.
Yeah.
You know, I'd spar with 10 people in a row in class, and that was like normal. Now you don't see that anymore. And what's called sparring now is quite different. You know, it's quite different.
And this was before kickboxing, correct? This was
before kickboxing, before MMA, before all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And now was Joe Louis and Chuck Norris, were they're on the scene doing this as well with you?
You know, I had the opportunity to fight Chuck and Joe Louis came to my dojo a few times and we'd spar, you know. He was a good friend with my teacher, Frank Ruiz, at that time. So it was Joe was amazing to fight with. Tough motherfucker. Excuse my French, but he was a tough.
No, we're all good with it.
Man. He sidekicked me in my ribcage. He was a badass. He sidekicked me in my ribcage, and I think it was sore for like months. You know, like months.
Yeah, that front leg sidekick he had was just unbelievable. The power, the explosiveness. But you had some really explosive kicks as well. You were known for your explosive power.
You know, I never really considered myself a good fighter. I enjoyed it, and that's why I did it. That's why I went to tournaments. You know, I competed in over 900 tournaments in 60 years of competition. And I'm still going. Yeah. And it's a wonderful experience to keep going. I'm 83 now, and in September, I'm going to be at the Worlds in Vegas. One more time, baby. You know, one more time.
Yeah.
Last year, I lost my second match by 2 points. I didn't get submitted, but the guy was 43 years younger than me. That's not an excuse, guys. But there is a difference when you're 80 and you're fighting someone 20. Is it different? No
Oh,
matter how
100%.
good you are, there's a big difference in performance. For my age, I
Yeah.
think I'm doing okay because I survived these rounds in class. To me, surviving a round, a 6 minute round without getting submitted, for me, is winning. That's how
Yeah.
I see it.
100%.
But when
Uh,
the age difference and everything, absolutely it's winning.
and these guys
Yeah.
are,
I mean,
you
it
know,
sounds like that you're chasing the challenge, which is good. It's keeping you fresh. It's keeping you,
yeah,
wanting
yeah,
to chase after something, which is that's what life's all about, right? Pivoting and micro pivoting towards what's going to keep you learning, keep you fresh.
yeah. And
Kind of
Helson,
going back, you said earlier that about the self-help, right?
yeah,
So that's all about
Helson has been
moving
telling me
forward.
for the past 10 years that I should not be sparring with the young guys. But I go there for the
Ah,
sparring. If we didn't have the
yeah,
sparring, I wouldn't be there. It's not that
yeah,
exciting, you know? Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I'm like a kid. When I go to the dojo, as soon as I walk up the steps, I'm smiling. I'm like a kid in a candy
yeah,
store. I can't think how much better I could feel. I don't think I could feel any
yeah,
better than that when I walk in the dojo. It's just great.
yeah.
Everybody's waiting for me. When we start sparring, I have guys are queued up waiting for me. For real. I got 3 or 4
Yep,
guys waiting for me. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
How
yeah.
was your ninjutsu training under Ron Duncan?
Oh, he was in my early days at the St. John's Community Center. He and Moses Powell were really my beginning in any martial arts. There was a gentleman by the name of Little John Davis. He's the one that introduced me to Moses Powell. Then Moses Powell introduced me to Ronald Duncan, and Moses Powell introduced me to Peter Urban. That's how I got to go with Peter Urban.
Oh.
Moses thought that I liked sparring so much. He said, "You got to go to urban school because those guys bang there." I said, "Oh, wow. Sure." I
When
met Frank Ruiz. He knocked 2 of my teeth out with a back kick.
knocked your teeth out?
Frank Ruiz.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And you would never think, a little short, fat guy, you would never think he was tough. He was a monster. He was a beast. I used to see him beat up Takanashi, Zulu, Malachi Lee, all those guys. I mean, I was with Sensei Ruiz about 9 years. He probably knocked me out about 10 times. Spinning
Wow.
back kick to the face, hook kick to the face, various punches to the face, Like, but it was a great dojo. And it was not malicious. He was just so good. You know, one day I made the mistake of scoring on Sensei Ruiz. He did the alphabet on me after that. It was like, you know, boom, bang, boom, boom. But those were wonderful days. Dojos can't do that anymore. You can't go there and see guys
Yeah.
getting their teeth knocked out in the eye. I was sparring with Billy Blanks in his dojo one time. He kicked my hand, my thumb went in my eye, and my eyeball came out of the socket. It popped into my hand.
Oh,
I'm sitting in Billy's dojo, really, with my hand holding my eye and blood dripping down through my fingers. And I could actually see Billy with the eye that was out of socket. Of course,
wow.
I had to put it back in and everything, but it was. I sparred with like 10 of Billy's black belts, and then I said, "Billy, let's do it, man." And like 3 minutes in, he just kicked my hand, my thumb went right in my eye, and popped that right up.
When you sparred with Billy, was that in Sherman Oaks in the red brick building on
Yes, 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 and sure enough, yeah.
Beverly Glen and
I
Ventura?
was there the day that he kicked Van Dam through his mirror.
That was 1990.
I think it was somewhere around there.
Wow.
Tell us that story.
I saw Billy kick Van Dam in the stomach. It was either a hook kick or a spinning back kick. And he went like this, like a cartoon. James, it was like a cartoon. He went just like this. And it wasn't a full silhouette of him in the glass, but it was the shape of a person. It was like the weirdest. And then he said, You want to roll? I said, sure. And then I swore with all the Billy's. Billy put me to spar with like 12 of his black belts in a row.
You ever spar with Van Dam?
No, actually, that day, I think his feelings were hurt. Uh, Billy was so, Billy's just so good. I mean, Billy's just so good. He's clear, he's sharp, he's ultra fast. You know that cartwheel kick that he does. He got that from me. I,
Just did it last August.
yeah, when he was 70 years old, right?
Now, hold on a minute. Take
Yeah.
us through that. How does Billy Blanks end up with a cartwheel kick? How did it come about? Tell us.
I did it to him down in Chinatown. Oh man, it was like the early 70s.
Talking about Chinatown, New York.
Chinatown, New York. Yeah, yeah. I fought Billy there twice. I actually beat Billy one time, but he was so good. He, wa- you
Oh
know,
yeah, he's good, man.
and his attitude, just beautiful. When I scored a kick on him, he was actually happy. He grabbed me and he hugged me, picked me up off the ground. You know, Billy's always been a wonderful man. I remember when we were doing the film The Last Dragon, I actually casted him to be Shogun of Harlem, but his acting wasn't good,
Really?
and so he flubbed the audition. But it was just nice to bring Billy down there. Yeah.
Now, when you trained Peter Urban, how did he conduct a class? What was that like?
Well, he had a boxing ring in the middle of the dojo, a boxing ring with ropes and everything right in the middle of the dojo. So when people would come to class, the class would be inside of that ring.
Oh,
He
okay.
was since Edward was quite a piece of work. I sparred with him many, many times. He used to spar with shoes on, you know, and he had those metal navy shoes, those black navy shoes. He kicked me in the wrist one time and cracked two ribs. Just one kick. But he was a wonderful man. He was there at the birth of my first son, whose middle name was Peter. You know, um, if it were not for Sense of Urban, there'd be no Goju in America.
Talk to us about that. Take us through that.
When he was in the Navy and he went to Japan and he started studying with Yamaguchi. And he was, I think he was there about 7 or 8 years, made his black belt. But the sons were jealous of him. Yamaguchi's sons were jealous, but he used to beat them up. He used to beat them up on a regular basis. And the Japanese, oh man, they don't like that. When Sensei Urban came back to the States, I was one of his first students. Um, After he left Yamaguchi and started USA Goju, um, Yamaguchi didn't like the fact that he used the fist. Uh, um, so they broke up about that. But Sensei Urban trained thousands of people. When I was with him, he trained at the police academy, and we trained cops every single day. I mean, those were wonderful days. And martial arts will never be as good as it was then. Real karate, not this just you know. Right now, it's more of a show. The techniques aren't real anymore. I see people doing gymnastics. I mean, what does the back handspring have to do with fighting? You know,
Well, let's go to movies. That's about it.
yeah, it's great for movies, but people tend to see that stuff and believe that one guy can beat up 10 guys or 20 guys. That's all. Sensei Irving used to call that
Yeah.
mental masturbation.
Yeah.
That's what he used to call it, mental masturbation. Because we knew guys that were making movies. You know, I have to be responsible for my way of thinking too. I thought as a teenager that one could do those things that I saw on the screen. It wasn't until I got to Hong Kong and I started making movies. After my third movie, I realized that most of the guys don't even know martial arts. You know,
Yeah.
they depend on the choreographer. You know, um, it was a it was a shock for me to realize that lots of these guys, like the guy from Five Fingers to Death, Lole, he wasn't even a martial artist. He knew nothing. He was an actor. You know,
Yeah.
Now, how did jump forward a little bit? How did the fight with Hoist Gracie come about? How
Oh,
take us through the
you
whole.
know, I saw UFC 1 on television and I said, I have to do this. Everyone said Van Cleef has lost his fucking mind, right? But I had to do it, James. What martial artist would not want to do that? No rules, no time limit, no weight division. How do you pass that up? You can't.
How did it come about? Did Hoist Gracie or Horian? Who? How did how?
Oh, what happened was after I saw number two, I called their office in New York. They were Semaphore Productions at that time. Bob Meyerowitz and Karen, Campbell McLaren and Art Davies. I met them, and Art I know from the Marine Corps. We're both Marines together. I know him from the Corps. If it were not for him, I probably would have not gotten into it. I was scheduled to do number three, and I don't know, somebody got hurt and they replaced him with somebody else. But the opening happened at 4, and I said, I'm in, guys. You know, I'm in. 1 week before I fought Hoist, I broke my left ankle wrestling with a
Ooh,
6'6", 250-pound wrestler. His name is Leon Stevenson. Very good Division I wrestler. Really, really good. He did a suplex on me, and my ankle hit the frame of the mat, wooden frame. And I broke my ankle 1 week before I fought Hoist. But
damn.
I couldn't bail. I just couldn't bail. I said, what would happen if you were in the street and you had to fight anyway? So I went anyway. I could hardly walk. It was very painful, but I had to do it. When when you have a desire that's so great that you will do it no matter what, man, there's no better feeling. And to get in the
Yeah.
octagon with Hoist at 51, I was 51 years old and 11 months. I was 1 month shy of 52. Hoist was 26.
Wow.
How could I pass that by? I couldn't. I couldn't. I had to
Well, it
do it.
was everything you stood for, correct? I mean, everything that you had
Yes.
been training for. This was your chance to really take everything you'd learned and put it out
Yeah,
there.
one time,
And what's
one more
great, like you
time.
said, it opened up your mind to a whole
A
new
whole
barrage
new
of
thing.
martial
Yes.
arts.
A whole new
Yeah,
thing. For
yeah.
sure. For sure.
It was meant to be.
It, it was meant to be. And it didn't matter whether I got submitted or I broke my ankle. None of that means anything. I was there.
Yeah,
I put
yeah,
out those 5 minutes in the octagon with Hoist, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, which I do not regret. I've taken a lot of shit from people because I lost, but everybody loses in the octagon. There's only one winner in those days.
yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, which
What
I do not regret, which I've never regretted.
what was it like when you got in there? Like, were you physically? You were prepared. Obviously, you were fighting. You're a lifelong martial artist. You're in great shape. You could have actually started a movie. You speak as good as anybody. The skill set as good as anybody. Was there anything that you, when you got there, whether you were on your feet or underneath hoist, where you went, "Oh
What
shit"?
the fuck am I doing here? I had that. I had that feeling. What the hell are you doing? But it could not have ended any better. Whether I was knocked out or tapped it couldn't have been any better. Those 4 minutes in the octagon will live in my life, in my mind, forever. Just the roar of the people of coming into the octagon. People saying USA, USA, USA. I mean, it was a blast, right?
Like
You know,
Rock, like with Rocky.
Yeah.
it was like Rocky. And I don't know if anyone knows, but I smoked marijuana before I fought Royce in the dressing room.
Was that a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it was a good idea.
Why, it calmed you
That
down?
probably calmed your nerves
I
and
was
yeah,
relaxed, and it was something that I wanted to do. You don't know, when I saw UFC 3, I said, I have to do this. Do you know? When you put that positive framework in your mind that I have to do this and I'm unstoppable. There's no way that I'm not going to do this. And what happened? I wound up Getting knocked down with Hoy. It couldn't have been any better. No matter what happened, it could not have been any better for me.
Have you had any
And then the next day, Helson came to me and he said that Bob Marowitz and Ken McLaren and Art Davis want you to be the first commissioner of the UFC. So that was like a real big thing for me. So I wound up putting the fight cards together for UFC 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We got all the fighters, all the ring people, all that stuff. It was great. I mean, it was a difficult job because I had to go to court and represent the UFC. Senator McCain called me a pit bull. He called me an animal in court. Yeah, I had to go to court representing the UFC. That was a difficult point. It was a very
because they were trying to basically mandate to where they wanted to get it out of here. They didn't want us.
They didn't want it at all.
Correct?
They didn't want it at all.
Yeah, they wanted it out. Yeah.
Now, have you interacted with much since that?
I took a couple of seminars with him, and we met at Bellator last year here in Hawaii. We had a chance to sit and talk. He said, I don't know how you got in the ring. I'm the age you were when you fought me, and I would have never done it.
Isn't it amazing when you say with Hoyce and Hickson and all that, and they're such badass, but really when you sit down with them, they're such nice guys.
They're sweethearts. Really, Helton is a sweetheart, man. And I've seen him roll with 25 guys in a row and not even sweat. I mean,
I went down to Manhattan Beach when Hoyce was preparing to fight Matt Hughes, and there was there, and I was sitting there watching, and I remember Elio was there, and he's talking in Portuguese, but he's unhappy about something, and he's like,
yeah.
And at the end, Hoyler was there as well, and Hoyler, I say, talking to him, say, you're in good shape, and something to that effect, and so we do this competition of the pull-ups, Hoyler and
yeah,
1-by-2, but I said to him, but you actually didn't win, you lost, and he looked at me. And I said, you know why? Because I was doing full ones and you were doing these.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that they're such badass guys, but like even that experience, just like two young kids on the beach, like seeing who can do the most pull-ups.
Yeah.
I found that with Hickson and Hoist and various people like that, they're so badass, but in real world terms, they're the nicest guys. They have nothing to prove.
They're sweet. They're sweethearts, really. Helson's like unbelievable,
Yeah. So
most guys that can actually fight, they don't, most of the sweetest guys are the guys that are the most badasses. I mean, you look at, George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre is like the nicest guy in the world, man.
Sweetheart. Yeah.
But he 99.9% of the planet. That's one of the greatest things about martial arts is they've been humbled. They've walked through it all. So they realize there's no need for me to act like an egomaniac right here. If I really wanted to, they're
and
great.
We had enough of the crazy ones, believe me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Enough of the crazy ones.
So Ron, backing up a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about your training with Remy Priestess.
Oh, Remy. Remy got me hooked with the Arnis. He taught a style called modern Arnis. It was a blade and stick and empty hand self-defense system. I studied with Remy for about 12 years, 12, 13 years before he passed away. Real interesting man. He was like an encyclopedia of information. I met him when I was doing a film called The Black Dragon in the Philippines. He came on the set one day and we became friends. He went to lunch and took me to his school and I started training with him. Another sweetheart guy, really, really nice and very proficient. He had refined his technique to a very high level. Very high level.
So backing up,
The Black Dragon, that is one great movie. That's something I definitely want us to talk about. I mean, and it pretty much encapsulated that's what people call you now is the Black Dragon.
Well, actually, Bruce Lee gave me that name. Bruce
did he?
We were smoking pot.
Hold on. Now let's back up. Take us into this. You're smoking pot with Bruce Lee. Where?
Yeah.
Where?
This was at the a hotel in mid Manhattan. I was at Henry Cho's All-American Championship.
Oh, is
I
that
had
when Bruce Lee made the appearance at the karate championship?
yes, yes. And after that, we he invited me back to the hotel, and we sat, we smoked, and we talked shit till early hours in the morning. What a really nice man. He invited me to his home in California. You know, I was going to go to his school in oh shoot, let me think where it was then.
Oh, Oakland.
No, he was with Jimmy.
Jim Lee.
Yeah,
That
yeah, I can't.
was in Oakland.
Oakland, yeah, Oakland, yes, yes. Um, very nice man. He opened my eyes to possibilities that I had not even entertained. Um, he was one of those guys that believed that blocking and countering should be one move, and
Yeah.
that was something that was uh, different for me. And it is the Wing Chun that allows you to simultaneously block and counter at the same time, which helped me many, many times when I was in karate tournaments. I would be able to attack while defending at the same time. And I won many of my matches because of Wing Chun. Yeah, man, they were not used to that handwork, the quick handwork, the blocking and countering at the same time, and the continuous movement. Once you block and counter, you just kept going until you submitted. Yeah. Very, very interesting system. I find it to be one of the more practical self-defense arts Wing Chun.
So take us back to the Black Dragon. How did that come about?
Oh boy, I was in New York. I was a policeman at the time. I was a transit cop, and Betty White. You know Betty White? Remember her? She was an agent with Black Beauty Agency. Betty White.
The actress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she
Yeah.
was actually yeah, she was my agent.
Oh, you're
She's the
kidding.
one that
Okay.
she's the one that brought me to Seraphim Alexis, which got me the 5 picture deal that started me out in the business. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. What a nice lady she was too. Really, it came out of nowhere. I was a transit cop. You know, I'm sitting having lunch one day, and she calls me and says, "You got the job." And I didn't even remember what job. I said, "Betty, what job?" She says, "You going to Hong Kong to make some movies." I said, "Oh shit." Next day I went in, I signed the contract, and 2 weeks later I was in Hong Kong.
That's phenomenal. So what movies
It was,
were you, it was a four picture deal or five
it was
picture
a four
deal?
picture deal. I wound up doing 9 with Seraphim. Uh, 9 Black Dragon films, and about I played a bad guy in a lot of films in Hong Kong. Between films, I did voiceover in English for films, and that paid surprisingly well. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was it kept me going. I wound up staying in Hong Kong. I went there. I went there to make 5 movies. I wound up staying 10 years and getting married. So
There you go. It swallowed
life,
you up.
life is something, you know. I mean, I have friends. Wang Yu was a good friend of mine. Alexander Fusheng. Uh, I even met Jackie Chan. Uh, there was so many really nice guys there that were so
Gotta,
talented.
gotta have met Hung Kamboa. Samo Hung.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah.
Talk to us about Samo because he's such a cool guy. Intense.
Sammo Hung was a wonderful man. I met him with what's his name? Leo Fong took me to meet one of Bruce's friends, Unicorn Chan. When I went to lunch with him, we did some dim sum on Nathan Road. You meet everybody at these dim sum restaurants. You know, I met Shay Ken, the guy that was the bad guy from Enter the Dragon. I met all of them. They were like my childhood heroes. You know,
Yeah.
I saw my first martial arts film in Chinatown in New York when I was like 10. My brother and I used to sneak into a movie in Chinatown. We'd be the only non-Asians in the whole place. And we'd watch the movies over and over and practice the stuff on the train going home. It was wonderful, wonderful days, you know?
Yeah.
So when you meet Sammo Hung, what was your experience?
You know, I had seen his work and I was a fan from the start. When you see someone that's heavy and can move like that, I mean, he blew my mind. He really blew my mind, you know? Uh, I met Sonny Chiba, who was a really cool guy too. He was a really cool guy. Yeah.
Wow.
Those days in Hong Kong were some of the best of my life.
Time
You
period,
know,
time period were you in Hong Kong?
from 75 to 83.
Oh, right in the peak of the Kung Fu boom.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an
And I went to Shaw Brothers Studio several times. I met a lot of the Shaw Brothers actors. Chen Guan Tai, he was a very good friend of mine. And Jason Pai Piao, you know. I knew Angela Mao Ying when she was young.
She's now she has a Chinese restaurant in New York.
In Queens. Yeah. I saw her a couple of years ago. She looks well. I mean, she's got to be 80, you know? She looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know, James, how I lasted this long, you know?
Good living, good genetics, good outlook on life, kept training.
I think it's all mindset, you know?
Yeah.
If you have a purpose, um, I've been a martial artist since I was 12 years old. I'm 83 now. That's a long time doing the same stuff. No matter whether it's jujitsu, karate, kung fu, or whatever, it's still the same thing. Um, I'm enjoying it. I plan to work out until I pass away. You know, um, so many guys like Helson Gracie. He's talking about retiring. He's only 73. I thought he was older than me, but I'm older than he is. And he says to me that I shouldn't be sparring with the young guys because I can get hurt. And that's completely in reverse of what I think. I go there because of the sparring. If we didn't have sparring, there would be no reason for me to go there.
You're
Honest.
you're a fighter, and you fought in the past. So you've got that warrior ambition. A lot of people do martial arts, but they don't necessarily fight per se, let's say. Or if
Yeah, I know. They're like weekend warriors. I
or
got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or fans of the sport, sure.
for the ones that do have a certain point where they cut off and they go, okay, I'm not going to fight anymore. My back, my hips, my knees, my neck.
I say that every class that I go. They say, you fat
Yep.
bastard, get on that bus. For
Keep
real.
going.
I talk to
Yeah.
myself, what do you mean you're not going? What kind of bullshit is that? You know?
So
But
you're a career commodity. Because a
I've
lot of
never seen anybody my age on the mat, which is terrible, which is really terrible.
It's a
I,
mindset, like you said. They turn it off. Well, that's not for me anymore. I'm too old. I'm,
I see 50-year-old
just
guys in
going.
the dojo talking about, oh man, I can't do this. My back, my knee. I have all of those injuries. Listen, I've been in pain for 20 years plus. Fingers, nose, back, chest, knees, ribs, toes, fingers. I'm alive, right?
Yeah.
And you have to keep moving, you know? You
you have
have to keep moving. You
Dan,
have to.
Danny Santo always says that, and he's 80, he'll be 90 in a couple of months. He
Isn't that amazing?
keeps saying the key is to keep moving because if
Yeah.
you'll lose it very quick and you'll seize up.
It's so fast. I had like a COVID kind of thing a couple of months back. I couldn't, James, I couldn't hardly breathe for 10 days. It was like this. Like I was waking up at night, my wife was saying, you stop breathing. Holy cow. 10 days of that. Just one day it ended and I was back on the mat. It's crazy, you know?
So let's go back.
I got a question for you, Mr. Van Cleve. So I
Just
know
rhyme, please.
you
Just
weren't
rhyme.
Ron, I
Yeah.
got a question for you. So I know you weren't in the movie, but there was a lot of inspiration, from my understanding, from the Last Dragon. Barry Gordy's The Last
Well,
Dragon.
actually, I was in the film in a few different areas. I
Oh, you were in
designed the
the film. Okay.
choreography for most of the film. I did double for Timac when he hurt his shoulder in the ninja outfit. Um, I did play a bad guy, and I did get beat up at the end by Timac. He actually whipped me with a
Okay.
pair of nunchakus and stepped on my head. You know, uh, Timac had been with me from when he was a kid. Like, he started when he was like 10 years old. He trained with me until after the UFC. I got him hired
Wow.
as a referee. He was a referee for the prelims in UFC
Really?
5, 6, and 7. Yes. Um, he actually wanted to do the UFC. I'm surprised that he didn't do it. He really wanted to do
Yeah,
it.
he's a very versatile athlete as well. I mean,
Yes.
he looks great. Yeah, he's a tough guy too.
Yes. We've he started studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before me. He was studying with Joe Moreira. That's who turned me on to Joe Moreira. Uh, excellent. I mean, really excellent. If you want somebody to go to UFC that's a star that really can do something, he would be perfect. Or like Michael
Now,
John White.
when you guys were making that film, did
It
you
took a
know
year
it
to
was
make.
going to be as did you know it was going to be as big of a cult classic as it became?
No, no. The director, Michael Schultz, is a very good friend of mine. His son lived with me in New York for 4 years while he was attending NYU Film School. So Michael and I go back a long way. Michael Schultz, we go back a long way.
Yeah.
Um, I actually still am in contact with him, man, because they're doing a sequel now. After
Oh,
all
are
these
they?
years, they're finally going to do a sequel. They finally got the funding, and Louis Venosa, the fellow that wrote the first script, is writing it again. So, and they want me to be the choreographer again. So, yeah,
Nice.
one more time. One more time.
Oh, we lost your video. Oh, there you are. There you are. Video fell for you. There you go.
So now,
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's one of my favorite movies. So I'm glad to hear it's coming back. I'm excited about that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I just found that out recently, actually, just like 2 weeks ago. Louis
Wow.
Venosa, the writer, called me and said, "Hey, we got the deal." I said, "Wow, bravo! Long time coming."
Nice.
And
Nice.
Thomas was very good. He is about, I think he's 57 or 58 now.
He's still in great shape, man. I see some of the stuff he puts up and
He's
he
in,
looks
he's in,
great, man.
he's in great shape.
Yeah.
I did have an influence over him as far as the fitness, because I'd make him do thousands of kicks and thousands of punches. Give me 3,000 kicks before you leave tonight. And he'd stay in the dojo until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and finish those kicks. He was a very,
Wow.
very devoted student. Very, very devoted.
That's
Those were
awesome.
great days.
how about Fist of Touch of Death?
Who's that?
One of the movies you did, it was a knockoff of one of Bruce Lee's.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was Terry Levine.
Yes.
Terry Levine did that. He just passed away last year, by the way.
Oh,
Terry Levine was a very interesting man. He brought hundreds of kung fu movies into the States. Hundreds. He owned movie theaters on 42nd Street. And he's like a one-man crusade for martial arts movies. He even brought Five Fingers of Death to the United States.
Interesting.
Very interesting man. He and Sarah from Alexis, they're the guys that were the beginning of the kung fu movie era. They were the beginning, and they were the people that brought martial arts to the neighborhood theaters. I never
yeah.
thought, truthfully, that I would be in films. When Seraphim called me and said, "We got this film." Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't until my agent called me that I thought it was serious. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Betty said, "I got a contract right here for you. 5 films in Hong Kong with an option for more. Come on in and sign us up. Let's get moving. And that was it.
That's it.
My dream had come true, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah.
What does the future hold for Ron Van Cleef?
Huh. Well, I'm testing for black belt in March or April. March or April, I'm testing for black belt. And Ron Shiraki, my sensei, is already has a place for me to teach the kids class on Tuesdays. So I'll be teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays for whatever time I have left in my life.
Interesting. Let me throw a few names at you and you can sum it up
Sure.
for one statement.
Okay.
Royce Gracie.
Oh my goodness. Do you know he was talking to me when we were fighting in Octagon?
What was he saying?
He was elbowing me in the side of my neck. And I said, no fucking way. Even if he had done that 100 times, I was not going to tap him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt at that point, everything that he had, I thought that I could handle it. Maybe not submit him or win, but I thought I'd be able to hang, you know? And it was an interesting way to look at things when someone's elbowing you on the side of your neck, or he put his thumb in my eye at one point, you know, to get my
Oh,
head to move so he could get my neck.
so you could get your neck.
Yes. And I said, no fucking way, man. Are you kidding me?
Elson Gracie.
Oh my gosh. He has been not just a mentor to me, but if it weren't for Helson, I probably wouldn't still be training. It's his way of looking at technique. He he's a very refined technician. He's one of those that will do a technique 1,000 times till he gets it right. He will not stop until he gets it right. I've rolled with him, and he's just too much. You know, you think you have someone, you have them inside control, you got a triangle dug in tight, and you think it's over. He pulls right out of that like nothing and smiling at you. Is that all you got, kid? You know, he's so good. He's so good.
Peter or
Oh, I would not be who I am now if it were not for Peter Herman. He gave me more than any teacher ever did from the mental, physical, and spiritual aspect of martial arts education. He
Moses
was
Powell.
Moses Powell. Whoa. He taught me fear. He was a big man, and he knew how to use his power, his technique, and he was just self-defense. He didn't do any fancy stuff, you know, no extra stuff. Just tighten up the person, close the gap, grab them. He used to say, if I can touch you, you're done. And I believe that. He was one of those guys. When he grabbed me one time so hard, he had the skin of my chest in his fingers. You know, he just ripped like a piece of skin off my chest. It was like, wow.
Chuck Norris.
One of the most interesting men that I ever met. He beat me at a tournament in California, at Barker's tournament. Um, Such a smart fighter, you know, because I outweighed him and I thought I'd be able to, you know, push right through. Chuck don't play those games, man. He's smart, fearless. Chuck was fearless. You hear me? For real. You know when you're fighting somebody where they're at. Tough enough,
Ed Park.
man. What a great man. He sat me with Bruce at the Long Beach Internationals, and he gave me a book that he wrote on Kempo. He was a genius. I think he was like Sensei Urban. There'd be no Kempo if it was not for Ed Parker. Like there'd be no Goju if there were not people like Peter Urban. It just wouldn't be, you know?
One more. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh my gosh, Jean-Claude. I always wanted to spar with him, but we never had the opportunity. But I did meet him a couple of times. I thought what he did and what Steven Seagal did were monumental for the art. They brought the martial arts to to a to an audience that had not ever seen anything like that. I thought Jean-Claude was a genius. I thought Steven Seagal was a genius. These guys, not only were they real martial artists, but they brought the martial arts to regular people who had not seen. Jean-Claude had beautiful legs, beautiful kids. I mean, beautiful. Look at Bloodsport. Look at those films. They're beautiful. I mean, those are beautiful things
Yeah.
to watch. You know,
So if
Yeah.
impressed.
if you had one message to pass on to the future generations of martial arts, what would that be?
Keep training, no matter what style you're in, no matter what art you're training in. Keep going. You only get better if you keep going. It's the consistency that makes you better. It's not who's the best. It's who lasts. You know, I was talking with Elio, who didn't speak much English, you know, and Elsa would translate. Elio said to me that you're old when you started this. I was 50 something years old when he met me, when I fought once. He says, what I need to do is work on my technique, work on my defense. And I in my jujitsu with Elsa, I've spent 10 years really working on my defense. So now I can roll with guys and not worry about getting hurt. I'm not worried about being submitted or me submitting them. If you can make it through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds in a night and not get hurt, you won. You're a champion. You know, I mean, these guys are so good. They're so good, James. And look at Hickson. My goodness, a technician. You know, Hoyler. Look at all those guys. They're really technicians, man. They have the technique down to a science. It is a science. It isn't just my happy time. You know, and I'm enjoying it. It couldn't be any better for me, no matter what. You know, it couldn't be any better for me. I'm so happy to
Well,
be
we're looking forward to hearing how you
champion.
do at your tournament, because your tournament's coming up when?
April, April
April.
in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna see what's
that's going
up.
to be
Let me see.
phenomenal.
Get this old body moving. See what I got, man. You know. I mean, what else is it? A
Yeah,
lot of, if you don't have a purpose, a meaning to your life, if you don't have movement, mental stimulation, I realize most people my age don't do anything. They watch TV and they eat. Ah, that's not enough for me. Um,
they just turn off their brain. You're
yeah,
stimulating yourself at all points,
you
mentally,
have to
spiritually,
keep
physically.
you have to keep stimulating yourself, or you're dead. You mean, look at
Yeah,
most guys my
yeah.
age. They can't even walk down the street. They're on walkers and wheelchairs and crutches and shit. You know,
You're a
I,
true testament to what
I,
that brain
I'm
power can really
grateful.
do.
I'm ultimately grateful and thankful for my ability to keep training. Even in the dojo, Elsa, all those guys, they tell me all the time, man, I hope I'm still able to do what you're doing when I'm your age. And most of them don't think they're going to make it to my age. That's kind of sad, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm going tonight. You know, it's what it is, right?
Mr. Van Cleef, it's
That's awesome.
a privilege and a pleasure for Zach and I to talk to you here.
And I got to get out to your dojo, and I want to get a roll with you, man. At least one. Shit.
Right here.
Come
Yeah.
on out.
Oh, yeah. I get to LA 3 or 4 times a year because my oldest son lives there. He has a poetry club in West Hollywood. Um,
Next time you're here, hit us up.
for sure.
Absolutely.
For
It's been a
sure.
pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you so much. It's been an
Thank you so much.
inspiration.
Thank you.
In all honesty, it's an inspiration.
We
So,
got to keep going, guys. No matter what. No
yep.
matter what style you're doing, no matter what rank you are, you're still going. And whether I pass the test or not, I'm still not quitting. I'm getting ready to take a referee's class because I want to start refereeing in tournaments. Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
We gotta stay.
It's awesome.
We have to stay busy. We have to. I know if I miss a week's workout, I feel like a piece of shit. You know,
Yeah.
my body's
Yeah.
hurting. The more you don't work out, the more you hurt.
Yeah.
That's
Truth.
true. That's a truism. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Well, thank you so much, sir.
thank you so very much.
you.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I will roll with you in California, my brother,
We'll do
for
it.
sure.
Come on out.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.